Welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Ukraine's fight against corruption seems to go on slower than many expected. In fact, the media, both Ukrainian and foreign, tend to describe the struggle as 2 steps forward, 1 step back. At the same time, it's impossible to deny that there is some progress in this fight, and it may be the most significant since Ukraine gained its independence. A number of important steps in the right direction were made, including introducing e-declarations, creating ProZorro system, and a decision to establish an anti-corruption court. So what else needs to be done to intensify the fight against corruption in Ukraine? To discuss this, we're welcoming in our studio today Oleksandr Kalitenko. He's the project manager of the Policy Analysis Program at Transparency International Ukraine. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for the invitation.
So overall, how would you evaluate the state of corruption in Ukraine these days?
Unfortunately, there is a counter-reform in the combating corruption in Ukraine. It still needs to be done more things, including the establishment of the automatic verification of electronic declarations, which is very important, and it is a condition for the visa-free travel and the future credits to Ukraine.
But if we compare the state of corruption in Ukraine with the number we have now, or the state we have now, to the one we had 5 years prior, which would be bigger?
We made a corruption perception index every year, and Ukraine has done small progress in this index. But still, for the state, the authorities, we declared the combating corruption is the goal number 1. This progress is not enough, unfortunately.
So what should be done for it to be enough?
Electronic declarations.
Except for that.
Except for that is establishing anti-corruption court. We now have the law on it, and it is welcomed by our international partners. But still, we need implementation of this law. So,
electronic declarations and anti-corruption court, these are just 2 issues that will totally resolve the problem of corruption in Ukraine that's been growing and growing like a snowball for years now. Just 2 things that need to tackle the problem.
There are more important things also, like rebooting NACP, National Agency on Corruption Prevention, because NACP is responsible for many anti-corruption things in this country. Maybe starting from the political party financing and finishing the electronic declarations as well.
Still, the government still consists of pretty much the same people. And as far as anti-corruption court goes, the judges that are going to be appointed are going to be still the same judges that used to be working in the judiciary system of Ukraine for years to come. How can we solve this?
Selection process just started, and we do hope that the new judges will come into the system, because
Are we talking about foreign judges or the ones from Ukraine?
From Ukraine, because we have the specialists, the appropriate specialists, and requirements for these judges for anti-corruption court are quite normal. So you don't need to have, for example, huge experience in the current system, I mean in the current judiciary.
How popular is this anti-corruption court? Do actually a lot of people want to be a part of it now?
It is quite popular among the Ukrainians, actually, because we saw the latest sociological data, and people welcomed the establishment of the anti-corruption court, and we do hope that the specialists, despite of the season of holidays, which we have now, will be submitted into this selection process.
Approximately, when could we have our anti-corruption court?
I think next year, this is the more or less good term for the establishment of the anti-corruption court.
So 2019?
Yes.
And according to the description, what is this institute going to be doing? How are they going to be fighting corruption?
The main goal is to fight corruption on the top level. I mean, it will be doing with the criminal proceedings done by National Anti-Corruption Bureau, and this is great because if anti-corruption court deals with like normal proceedings, not with top corruption, it could be overfilled with the smaller requests. So it is quite good step in this direction. But appeals, you know about the appeals, it will be also considered by the anti-corruption court. And this is another good step because our international partners, like International Monetary Fund and our European partners, criticized the previous previous article in the law that declared that appeals will not be considered in this new anti-corruption court.
Well, the case of ousted President Yanukovych be forwarded to the anti-corruption court, which is to be created.
The problem is the special anti-corruption prosecution office is also the link on these proceedings. I mean, the first link is the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, the second is Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecution Office, and the third one is the Anti-Corruption Court. In any case, not only Yanukovych, we see that Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecution Office is the weakest link, unfortunately, because we saw the Holodnitsky case recently, and we saw the process, and it could be a threat to the whole process.
So what you're saying is that the Yanukovych's case is not going to be forwarded to the anti-corruption court, am I right?
I think the current case of Yanukovych, which is investigated by the General Prosecution Office, and we saw the special courts right now, the special courts, even the live translations on the TV as well, but it moved 4 years actually, and now it's 4 years after Maidan, so it is not.
But the damage that has been done is still the same.
Yes, it's still the same, but the process and the speed of this process is not appropriate, unfortunately, because 4 years already gone away, and we don't see the special results on this case, unfortunately.
But that's why we're creating an anti-corruption court.
Yes, but anti-corruption court was created also for the another reasons, because the current criminal proceedings done by NABU forwarded to the our current courts, and they collecting dust, unfortunately, in
the same thing that is happening to the Yanukovych case. Why not forward it to the anti-corruption court?
The same with the Yanukovych case, but Yanukovych case is already investigated by the by the prosecution office, so it should be finished. I mean, the
by the
current
prosecution office?
Yeah, by the current investigation, because they started, and we still don't see the expected results. Okay, in your opinion, is there any chance, meaning for any country, not only Ukraine, to absolutely eliminate corruption? Or is there going to be a little percent always present? There is no country in the world which has been totally successful in eliminating corruption. Even in our corruption perception index, the leaders gave maybe 90 or 85% of the total, because it's still impossible to eliminate corruption totally.
Which country is the most successful in this process nowadays?
New Zealand, Denmark, Sweden. Okay.
Is Ukraine going to take up any of that experience from those countries when fighting our own corruption?
The interesting thing that Scandinavian countries, for example, they don't have a high level of corruption. That's why they don't have the special procedures to combat them, because they already have the low level of corruption. So even some problems like we have in Ukraine, for example, lobbying regime. I could name Finland, for example, or whistleblowers protection, for example. They do not have the special law on the whistleblower protection on the internal level, but the many companies, Finnish companies, establish their procedures by their own. It is not required by the law. And we in Ukraine do not have the special law on whistleblower protection. We have only chapter in the law on prevention on corruption, and that is not enough.
So we should have a separate law?
Yes, yes, with the appropriate guarantees, with the appropriate mechanism, because now we have so-called declarative guarantees with the no clear procedures how to do it.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming and clarifying this for all of us.
Thank you so much.
That was Oleksandr Kalitenko. He's the project manager of the Policy Analysis Program at Transparency International Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with UATV for more.